friends, it's Min. Today we're going to repot this orchid. It's actually not my orchid, it's one of my friends there, and she's asked me to help her out and repot it. So I'm going to share with you how I repot an orchid. So I can see that this orchid has been missing a lot of the soil. It's actually probably hasn't been repotted since it's been purchased from the nursery. And feeling the soil is actually really dry there. So I'm going to remove it out of its plastic nursery pot and remove all the soil and sphagnum moss. And I can tell already that a lot of the roots have died and dried up because the actual soil has been left for far too long between watering, and it's actually dried out the roots. It's really not many roots that actually still alive, and always important to cut away those dried out dead roots because there's no use to the plant, and you don't want to leave those dead roots into the new soil because it's actually going to be more of a problem with root rot and leading issues to the plant, and the plant's not using it anyway. So I'm going to remove all that old soil mixture and also all this sphagnum moss as well. And the sphagnum moss was quite dry out, and probably the cause of why a lot of the roots have died and dried up. And once I've done that, I'm going to use clean clippers and cut away all those dead roots. And then I'm going to prepare my soil mixture. And my soil mixture is really easy. I have orchid mix, which consists of basically orchid bark, and also I have the sphagnum moss that originally came from, and I'm going to reuse that sphagnum moss. So first of all, I can see that I don't actually need to go to a bigger pot size. I actually did prepare a bigger pot, but once I cut away all those dead roots, this orchid didn't have that many healthy roots left. It really only had 2, so there was no need for me to upgrade the pot. But if you have an orchid and it has a lot of healthy roots, then just go 1 pot size bigger. And so this original nursery pot, it did have a drainage hole, so always important to use a pot that has a drainage hole to make sure that the plant is not overwatered. And then once I've got the orchid mix in the actual soil, I'm going to dig a hole and pop the orchid in. I'm going to backfill it with more orchid mix, and then I'm going to use this original sphagnum moss because it's still good. You can keep on reusing sphagnum moss there, and with the sphagnum moss there, I'm actually not even going to bother re-retting it because I only need a little bit, and I'm just going to put that at the top of the actual pot. The reason for that, the sphagnum moss, once it gets wet, it just gives an extra layer of moisture for the orchid to grow. And then I'm going to pop it back in its actually before I pop it back in its original cover pot, what I'm going to do is actually really water this orchid because it does need a good drink. So I'm actually going to water it outside and use my garden hose, clean off the leaves there and give it a good watering, and making sure all the excess water is drained away, because there's no good keeping the excess water because this orchid didn't have that many healthy roots it didn't end up with that many healthy roots. It's important to drain the water away so that the actual orchid bark doesn't stay soggy for too long. And if the orchid bark or the orchid soil stays soggy for too long, that can lead to root rot. Once that's done, I'm going to pop it back in its original cover pot. I'm also going to wipe the leaves because the leaves got wet. I want to wipe the leaves, and that will reduce the risk of fungus developing, fungal disease developing on the leaves. And then once that's done, I'm going to pop in the area where it's receiving a lot of bright indirect sunlight. And also just to find that because this orchid didn't have many healthy roots in the end, I'm going to give it an extra boost. So what I tend to do is that after I repot an orchid, I try to increase the humidity and temperature, just give it an extra boost. And I'm just going to use a simple IKEA glass container, and I'm going to pop the orchid in and cover it with the glass display container, and that will just give the orchid an extra boost of humidity and warmth. Back into place where it's going to receive a lot of bright indirect sunlight, and that's it. That's how I repot and revive an orchid. I will re-water the orchid once the soil mixture is dry, and or generally how I find out if the soil mixture is dry is just to use my finger, go as far down to the pot, and this one's easy because the actual pot's only very small, and feel the actual moisture in the soil. And if I find that there's a bit of moisture that I can feel on my finger, I know that it doesn't need re-watering. And also a lot of times that once you get to know your plants and things like that and their need of it, you can also tell that if the plant needs some watering is to actually feel the weight of the pot. It will tend to feel lighter if the soil is dry compared to if the soil is still moist. So that's how I revive an orchid, and I'm going to give this plant back to my friend so that she can continue to grow her orchid, and hopefully it will bloom for her this year. If you have tips of your own how you grow your orchid and how you repot your orchid, I'd love to read about in the comment section down below. And if you want to know how to repot a monstera, watch this video here. I'll see you next video.